not only is it New York, Chicago, these other places, but now here in Tennessee. I'm in Tennessee. This has been brought to my attention. Venezuela gangs, human trafficking operations surge in Tennessee's 4 major cities. We should all be afraid of this. I'm going to try to get this in here for y'all. Let's see here. Tennessee police are warning about the surge of Tren de la Agua, TDA gang activity in their 4 major cities, with top law enforcement officials placing the blame on the porous southern border. This gang has exploited the border, said Tennessee Bureau of Investigation Director David Rosh on Fox and Friends. Rosh said the gang has been running human trafficking operations and expanding into other criminal activities in Nashville, Memphis, Knoxville, and Chattanooga. In Chattanooga. They go from human trafficking to organized retail crime, theft, and then they move into the drug trade, taking on the cartels in very violent, bloody battles that they've had. New report warns bloodthirsty Venezuelan gangs' footprint will remain in the U.S. for decades. Look, I think they should make a law. Need to wave that magic wand. If you're involved in that gang, or you have tattoos that represent this gang, and you know they do, they have tattoos on them. I don't know how much they can do keeping surveillance on them, but they should be rounded up and shipped out or thrown in prison. Rosh, I don't know how to say his name. Roish added that TDA has zero respect for police and has attacked law enforcement throughout the U.S. He had added that the gang was caught 2 years ago in a trafficking operation but has returned in recent years. Rosh said law enforcement is limited in their efforts to crack down on TDA-related activity, especially if suspects do not have immigration detainers. If we come upon them and they have a detainer on them, then we can take them into custody. But other than that, all we can do is monitor them and assure that they aren't violating the law. But that is a challenge, said Rosh, calling it a game of cat and mouse that's getting more dangerous. Rosh warned Tennessee Governor Bill Lee during a budget hearing about the resurgence of the gang in major Tennessee cities. The Department of Homeland Security recommended last month that more than 100 migrants that it has identified as having possible ties to a bloodthirsty Venezuela gang but put on an FBI watch list after the agency flagged more than 600 with possible ties overall. NBC News first reported that DHS has identified more than 600 individuals with possible ties to the Tren de la Agua, and that 100 of those are deemed subjects of interest. Fox has confirmed that it recommended that it be placed on the FBI's watch list for transitional criminal organizations. The gang is believed to have started in the Tacona prison in the Venezuela state of Aragua and has since expanded into Bolivia, Brazil, Chile, Colombia, Ecuador, Mexico, Peru, and the U.S. In a statement, DHS said that the identities emerged as part of an ongoing rescreening operation to tackle the gang. What is this, the new mafia? Italian mafia? Now they're Venezuela gangs?
So, Tennessee law enforcement warning that the violent Venezuelan gang Tren de Agua is now operating in every major city in the state. Tennessee Bureau of Investigation Director David Roush has been warning local leaders about the growing threat and joins us now. Sir, thanks so much for joining the program.
Thank you, Lawrence.
So what's the big issue as it relates to your law enforcement capabilities? Is the current federal, detainers and all that preventing you from doing your job? Give us the scope.
No, I don't think it's any of that. I think what we have is, unfortunately, because of the porous border, this gang has exploited it, and they are actively working throughout our country. And we know, because of our investigations, they are actively working in Tennessee. They are in our four major cities, Nashville, Memphis, Knoxville, and Chattanooga, and they are running human trafficking operations right now. We first noticed them about 2 years ago during a trafficking operation in Middle Tennessee. And we thought, after we had captured a few of them, we knew some of them had fled. We thought that they would move out of Tennessee, but they have moved back. And we are aware now, after some meetings this past month, we're aware that they are moving into different operations. They go from human trafficking to organized retail crime theft. And then they move into the drug trade, taking on the cartels in a very violent, bloody battles that they've had. And they also have zero respect for policing. They have attacked law enforcement officers throughout our nation.
So, sir, what do you charge them with? You see that these folks may be allegedly a part of Trinidad and Agua. If you haven't witnessed them committing a crime, got any evidence of a crime, right now, because of the current administration, you can't turn them over the ice to be deported. What do you do?
Yeah, so that's a challenge. We do, if we come upon them and they have a detainer on them, then we can take them into custody. Right. But other than that, then all we can do is monitor and assure that they aren't violating the law.
Well,
but
wait a minute.
That is a challenge.
That's a game of cat and mouse, right?
If so what? They have a detainer, they can get them, but I mean, if you nab up these people and they don't have the right paperwork, that get them out of here. I don't understand. I mean, I don't see why you can't just start scooping them up, getting them out of here. I guess they need to profile as far as gangs are concerned. Stop this identity crap, and they need to be profiled. Unless they wise up and go, okay, stop putting tattoos all over your face. Put our insignia tattoo somewhere where it's covered. I don't know. I mean, I'm just saying. There's got to be something. There's got to be something we can do. You can profile these people and start herding them up.
Very much so. Very much so. We do that, unfortunately, too frequently, and with these very violent criminals, it's a dangerous game.
Yeah. I'm hoping with the new administration, as a matter of fact, I know things are going to change. Sir, thank you so much for all that you do.
Yes, and I hope it changes fast. I mean, look, Biden just went down to the Amazon. What the hell? What, is he going to get a mosquito bite and contract malaria, God forbid, and then Kamala Harris takes over? We're in big trouble. Again, I think we need to profile these gang people. If we can't stop. We can't just. We better not say that. Maybe we shouldn't profile people. Well, I think you should. Look, if somebody picked me up because they maybe they're profiling, whatever the case may be, and then look me over, look at my background. You know, I have nothing to hide. So, it's the people who have things to hide that don't want to be profiled.
Prison gang, Tren de Aragua. Have you heard of them? They're a lovely group of people, Tren de Aragua, that has taken over apartment complexes and unleashing a violent terror spree all over America.
So there we go. From last night, Duluth, Georgia, the former president stroking up concerns now as the Department of Homeland Security flags 600 migrants with potential ties to that Venezuelan gang. The agency recommending that more than 100 of them be put on the FBI watch list. That's amazing. Former FBI Special Agent Dan Brunner with me now. And Dan, good morning to you. It's nice to have you back on the program. A couple things here. Call for number one. Fiscal year 2023, Venezuelan migrants apprehended at the southern border, 266,000. followed by another 261,000 the following year. You say that number of 600, however, is misleading because it's undercounted. Go ahead and explain that first.
Absolutely, Bill. Thanks for having me. The number 600 is absolutely it's misleading. I think the number of Tren de Aragua members here in the United States is, I would say, we're talking 2,000 to 4,000, because you have to understand a lot of these members of this organization have been training, have been receiving familiarity with all of the crimes that they're already conducting here. They've been active in Chile, Peru, Colombia. When they're conducting their criminal activities down there, their organization, the Tren de Aragua's management, moves them into the United States via the pipelines. They are working with Sinaloa. They're working with CJNG. They're working with the cartels from Mexico. Human trafficking, moving them north, and the numbers that are coming into the United States. That number 600 also doesn't take into account the countless number of young individuals, 12, 13, 14 years old, which are being recruited. Clearly, a good example is there in New York City, the 42nd Street Boys. They're being recruited by one member of Tren de Aragua, and that multiplies. That one person brings in 15 additional members. So I think the number 600 is, I'd say, closer to 2,000 to 4,000.
Two specific questions. Did they all come across the border, or were they flown in on that app that's been used?
I think it's a combination of all of them. They're taking advantage of the systems that were built in over the last, during this administration. They're taking advantage.
Boom. Over the last administration, we should be... I know everybody's pissed because we voted for Trump. And look at this mess that they've got us in. And then that article we just read saying that we could be stuck with this for a decade. But we need to do something, people.
They're coming across the border. The numbers that we're getting is how many encounters. Well, how many encounters were unknown? Individuals that came across the border in the United States. This is a sophisticated organization. This isn't just a street gang. These individuals, this is a transnational criminal organization. They have communications. They work in Bitcoin. They work in encrypted communications. They know what they're doing. They know how to take advantage of the system.
Wow, that's very interesting.
Well, we need to get some smarter people who are smarter than them to start dismantling their system. Dismantling it.
The answer. You remember the debate with all the Democratic candidates? They were asked the question whether or not crossing the border should be decriminalized, all right? Kamala Harris was asked that again last night on this question by Anderson Cooper.
I mean, you did raise your hand saying in a debate when asked if border crossing should be decriminalized, but obviously that is not your position.
I never intended, nor will I ever allow America to have a border that is not secure. I believe we need to deal with illegal immigration. There needs to be...
This is why she lost the election. She said that, and everybody's like, you were so full of shit. What? You wouldn't allow an unsafe border? Well, you did, and we all saw it. It's like, no, there's nothing to see here, people. Don't believe what your eyes are telling you. This is why she lost. Okay? This is why she lost. This was a lie. It's so blatant.
To be consequences, which is why part of my plan that I have outlined.
I mean, you can decide for yourself whether or not she's pursued that.
She didn't have an outlined plan. Her plan was, and this is what I heard, and I listened to her. She's like, we need policies. We need border policies. We need more judges. We need to make it easier for these people. But in the meantime, we can't shut the border down. Now, I'm adding that, but basically that's what it is, because they didn't shut down the border. I think they started to, during the election, they started to enforce some stuff. And you notice the gas prices came down a little bit, too. I mean, it was all smoke and mirrors. Thank you, America, and thank you, God. First, thank God. Thank you, America, for electing Donald Trump. And they better hit the ground running. Hit the ground running.
That the way she answered that. One more question here. You say they're not a gang. It's a criminal organization. If that is true, could we prosecute them in a different way?
Absolutely. I think utilizing the same statutes and federal statutes of RICO, racketeering, going after them with much larger, much harsher counts, much harsher investigations. If they conduct murder in the aid of racketeering, that's mandatory life sentence if convicted. An individual who pleads to that will get 30 to 35 years. I experienced it. I went through two major.
Hey, Trump said an illegal kills an American citizen, they get the death penalty. That is a bill I can get behind.
RICO trials with FBI.
Because we need to send a serious message. We're done. And they can send a serious message to this racketeering gang or whatever you want to call them, well-organized crime. It's the new Italian, but they're Venezuelans, mafia, that the government in states and cities had to deal with back in the 20s and 30s. So we're going to have to figure it out. And I think Trump is getting a lot of smart people together that can figure this out.
Work in New Jersey. So there's a lot of tools that can be utilized by the Department of Justice and the FBI, along with HSI and other partners, to attack this organization from in here in the United States. Mass deportations is not going to work. They are here. So we have
mass deportations is what we need
to deal with this problem now. And is a very complicated situation. And I think the NBC report is a lot bigger. I think that we're looking at, like I said, thousands of individuals. So now we have to tackle this head on.
It's very interesting, concerning too. We'll see whether or not we get to that point soon enough.
This is insane. I didn't know. I was sent this article. Well, not this particular article. I had just researched it, but I was sent concerning this situation that they have infiltrated Tennessee. And the Nashville, Memphis, Knoxville, Chattanooga. You know, I watched a video of John Stossel. If y'all can go check out his channel, he did a video with this woman who wrote these books on. Years ago, she had let her son ride on the subway. She lives in New York. Ride on the subway by himself. There's like no way. And she was saying that we're in a culture of coddling our children, which I agree with her to a certain extent. That it's on John Stossel's YouTube channel, so y'all go check it. I can't remember her name right off the bat, but what they were talking about is how America for a few decades as we've coddled our children. All of us, when we were kids, we could play outside. We'd come in when it got dark. And, now everybody's afraid to let their kids out of their sight. And, just articles like this reinforces why I have felt the way I have about my own kids. Like not letting him out, not necessarily letting him out of my sight, but being with groups of people. He's not being alone, being adult supervised. Monitoring, the internet access, all of this stuff, and then now you have human trafficking operations going on in Chattanooga, Nashville, Memphis, Knoxville. This is our backyard. This is growing concerns. This is serious stuff here. But go check out John Stossel's video on that because it was interesting. I agreed with some of the things she said and some of the things. And y'all saw, what was it, just this past week? I think it was on Law and Crime. This woman was arrested because her son walked to the store by himself, which I think was ridiculous. She didn't even know he left. He was outside playing or either didn't come home from school when he went and did. I mean, kids always do stuff like that. I don't think she should have been arrested for that. Now, there could be, we have taken it too far, I will agree, that when they say if you see something, say something, but what is it that you see that you're going to say? Oh, the kid's outside playing by himself. Oh my God, call the police. I mean, it has gotten on the verge of absurdity. I think parents, just use your common sense. Just use your common sense with your children. You know your child better than anybody. If they have common sense, if they listen to you, if they do what they're supposed to, or you got a kid that's reckless and you know who you are. If you've got a goofy kid, okay, well, he can't do X, Y, and Z. So just use your common sense. And then I do agree with her, this woman, that they do need to change some laws, because that woman didn't need to be arrested because her kid snuck off and walked to the store or wherever he went. It was ridiculous. It was absolutely ridiculous. But anyway, this is something that we all need to pay attention to with these gangs, and especially here in my own backyard, that these Venezuelan gangs are just not touching places like New York or Chicago or Philadelphia or California, that they're in the heartland. They are moving. Their tentacles are reaching out and expanding. And we need to be calling our representatives. We need to be backing Trump on this. We need to give them the full arm of the law to get these people out of here. To get them out of here and get that border shut down. I wish he could start shutting that border down right now. Because every day that ticks by and they're sneaking over, and a lot of them, y'all saw that big herd, the caravan of people turned back around when Trump got elected. It's just we're in the damn blame twilight zone. That these people turned around because somebody else got elected, because these idiots that are in office now who are doing nothing, they could give a damn about any of us. If they did, that border would have been shut down. Most countries around the world have a shut down border. You can't have a country without a border. You can't have a country without a border. Guys, be vigilant. Contact your governors, especially Newsom, Hulscomb, and Hobscomb. That's in California, New York, and Arizona. Go flood them, because they're saying they do not want to help President Trump get these people out. Make the sanity stop. Do your part.